So, like, let's crystal ball that award. I know this is a hard one because you're kind of thinking like the narrative matters, preseason expectations matter. Like, if Illinois makes it to the CFP, that probably is enough, even though we're all talking about that as a possibility. It probably gets Bret Bielema there, but give us a pick there for the coaching job.
Yeah, I would think they have the easiest road, right? Because it's just like, if you exceed, it's basically an exceeding expectations award wherever you are picked to be. So let me put Michigan head coach Sherrone Moore in there then, because I think that very rarely do you see it's like Ohio State. It's like it's very hard to win Coach of the Year at Ohio State or at Penn State or at Michigan because you're expected to be one, and if you're not one, then it was a disappointing year. And if you are one, it was like, well, that's what you were expected to do. So let me throw him out there because I do think that if they come back, and they've been recruiting well here, not necessarily for this past year, although they got Bryce Underwood, but they've been beefing up some talent. If they exceed expectations this year, and who knows, maybe they're Michigan, they could win the whole Big Ten with a freshman quarterback. I think that their narrative could be for him because I do feel like we're in a moment of, is Sherrone Moore really the guy? And I think even though he had beaten Ohio State and taken over for Jim Harbaugh admirably, even better than admirably in those games, it's like you're wondering right now, if you're a Michigan fan, is he the guy to lead us going forward? And so if he can exceed expectations, a freshman quarterback, they look dynamic once again. Let me put his name out there so I can cover all the bases depending on which team is good or not good. So I have at least a chance of winning one of these.
It's a pretty smart approach there. Just want to say real quick, Urban Meyer got jobbed by not ever winning a Coach of the Year. It took him 4 seasons to lose his first regular season Big Ten game. Neither here nor there. The James Franklin thing is super duper intriguing to me. And it's like everybody's talking about what Penn State can do, what they will do. But if they beat Oregon in the regular season and they beat Ohio State in the horseshoe in the regular season, it's going to be really compelling. Like, it'd be hard to not have him as the Coach of the Year at that point.
Narratives, right? That would be narratives of beating top 5 teams, top 10 teams.
Can he do it though? That's the thing. It's just like, I feel so bad because it's just like, I think of the NFL and like Lamar Jackson. It's just like, he's been such a great quarterback and so good. Maybe one of the best of all, definitely one of the best of all time. But it's like, I can't win in the playoffs. And there's nothing you can do about that until you actually do it. And so Penn State actually did have a little postseason success last year, but it's just like, but can you get over the Ohio State and the Michigans consistently? And until you do it, you haven't done it.
Yes. I think about that all the time. And like for that situation for James Franklin, he can't do anything until those 2 games on the regular season. Like, they have to win all the other games that they're supposed to win. And then you can't change the narrative and change the story until you actually get to those games and win it. It's kind of like with Ryan Day this year too.
Yes.
He has to get to the Michigan game. Again, nothing he does in the lead up to that matters. Texas doesn't matter. New quarterback, none of that stuff matters until that game. And what if Ryan Day wins that game? He kind of should get Big Ten Coach of the Year. Like, he's doing the thing that he hasn't been able to do.
It is wild though. Like, to that point, think about how we're looking at Ryan Day right now versus how we looked at Ryan Day after they lost to Oregon, after they lost to Michigan last year. And it's just like, it's a completely different thing because the narrative on him was like, really good coach, wins all the games he's supposed to, but like has not really done well in the big one. And so like, this is a huge narrative year. James Franklin, like if he does what we think he can do, people will talk about him very differently.
Yeah. What if Ryan Day just does that though every year? He loses to Michigan every year, but wins the national championship.
I'll have a heart attack every year.
Put you in a pretzel.
Joshua, the fan, will have a heart attack every year.
That's going to be a fun experience for you watching the Michigan-Ohio State game next to Joshua. That was
but
Nicole, we're city last year.
We're professionals.
We are.
Now. Not Joshua may not be, but we're professionals.
Air.
We don't root at all. Yeah,
I'm a professional on air. In the green room, I am meltdown city.
Yeah.
Meltdown is totally correct.
Big emotions.
So Ahmed, you got to do all these fun like tradition stories, like when you guys were on site.
Oh yeah.
So what was the most fun, like tradition or I don't know, little bit that you guys did? Like, what was your favorite place to be, or like something you guys did with the fans or a mascot? Joshua.
Yeah. I love being under the flag at Maryland. That actually was really cool and underrated, right? I would never have thought that would rise to the level of something that sticks out in my mind. Hung out with a duck in Oregon for a whole day. one time going around town, and that duck is famous, man. And like everywhere we go, we're driving. And here's the crazy thing about hanging out with a mascot all day. They don't talk. There's a lot of awkward moments. It's like you ask the duck a question, you're not getting an answer unless it's with like some sort of a gesture. So I will never forget that. I will never forget when me and Mike Robb went around Ohio State and made a joke about the all the time, like the Ohio State University. Here we are at the. Weird things like that probably will never happen again because our bosses saw it and it was like, never do that again. But those stick out. Those stick out.
They're like, we're at the library.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those are the ones that stick out to me the most, but those are fun. Like you say, Nicole, it's like, and I love how you said it. It's like everything is sacred. College football is sacred. These traditions are sacred, but nothing is serious, right? And I think like if we can kind of give that vibe of our show, because I feel like we've done that the first 2 years we've been doing the show anyway. But that's exactly the flavor of college football, is that all this stuff is sacred, but it's not necessarily 100% serious.
Oregon was one of my favorites personally.
Yeah. Hey, we're still trying to figure that out. You know, it's just like if you're in Oregon, Wisconsin, how do you not root a little bit for the Oregon Ducks, especially if they're better that year? But they didn't. They stayed true to the Badgers.